Righty, guys, you can feel the finals in the air. In fact, first week of women's finals for Divvies 2, 4, and 6 this week. Part of the coaching notes I will be sending out the information that the club's got. That includes all the fixtures, times, and venues, but also quite a bit about rules for finals. Probably the most important one for us to be aware of is what needs to happen in the case of a draw. So just have a good look through that document. It's been well put together, and we'll obviously send it out each week from here on in. So yeah, exciting time of the year. Really looking forward to it. We've got some milestones this week. So 50th game, Andrew Kennedy, all field umpires, Andrew Kennedy. 200th game, big one for Matt Harris. And first Division 1 game for Matthew Jake. So well done to you guys. Enjoy your milestone games this weekend. Just a reminder about the Schnitzel night for the association, putting on that this Wednesday night after training. There is the information session for the guys that are wanting to look at going out to the sample and the pathway through there, but that's on at 6 o'clock at Pulteney, so that gives you time. That won't go for too long. If you want to go to the Schnitzel night afterwards, you're more than welcome to come along afterwards. So I'm just going to show you a picture that Bruce Amos sent me from the weekend, and I'm sure a lot of you will be able to relate. So this is at Edwardstown, towards the end of the B grade game, and it's something that we do get at some grounds. I know Westminster always a problem. Look, we do need to start clamping down and again, reminding clubs that we can't have them warming up in that just straight behind the goal. So they need to move out of there. If there's no room anywhere else on the ground, they need to wait till in between the games to warm up. It's just not fair on the goal umpires. It can lead to issues during a game while the ball's in play. It's just a place we don't want them to be. So if we could pay attention to that, it's a field umpire's responsibility to keep an eye on that one. And let's help out the goal umpires, whether they're club umpires or our umpires. We just don't need all the players in the way when they're trying to get the score right. Okay, just something that I have had in the back of my mind a while, and I've been meaning to share for a while because I've seen it a couple of times in games. A lot of you will notice that in AFL games, when the umpires want to move the play on, so a player's got a mark or free kick, or it's after a kick in, that you'll see them, or you'll hear them call out, move it on. Now, the problem with that phrase, I don't like them using it. The problem with that phrase is it sounds so much like play on. So I've actually been umpiring with, one was my son on the weekend. He called out move it on, and the player on the mark ran forward, and then he penalised him 25 metres for running over the mark. So it's a pretty simple fix, and something I reckon you guys can do better than AFL umpires is, instead of saying move it on, say move it now. It's just saying move, one word difference, and it makes a huge difference. So there won't be any confusion with you saying play on. So if you say move it now, it gives a clear instruction. And then obviously if they don't kick or handball, you call play on after that. So just something that I've been meaning to share for a while. I think it's something that one thing we can do differently to AFL umpires, and actually I think it's a better expression to use. So move it now, not move it on.
With that one, Colin, what works well for me is I yell out quite loudly. I go, "You got a couple of seconds, mate, couple of seconds," and they respond to that very, very quickly. So that's just another thing.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that. But if we're going to be consistent, I like the idea of just changing one word. Move it now works. But yeah, that's all right, Andre. I don't have anything against that. All right, Sportal. It's a company that does have an app that they do have scoreboards around the place. I'm not talking about the scoreboards tonight. What the plan is as of next year, they're wanting, because Player HQ isn't great for keeping live scores. And at the moment, when someone wants to know what the score is of another game that they're not at, it's pretty hard to find out unless you want to log on to YouTube, or if you want to, get a live stream. It's just hard to find a live score. So the idea is goal umpires, instead of both goal umpires having the old scorecard, that one of the umpires will have their phone. They download the Sportal app, and they'll keep the score on their phone. So the theory is pretty sound. I think it will work okay. We're just going to test it out this year. This week, we're going to have the two Scarman boys, Ethan and Alex, test it out in the Div 1 games. And then in round 18, 3 weeks' time before the finals, we'll have all 5 Division 1 games trialing this out. So one goal umpire uses a Sportal app, one will use a scorecard. And then hopefully we can get this thing up and running next year. And obviously it will take coordination with club goal umpires in games outside of what we provide, which we don't provide that many goal umpires. So it's just going to be beneficial from a league perspective to have that up and running, and that's the plan. So yeah, there'll be a couple of representatives from Sportal this Wednesday night at training speaking to goal umpires. And if you are involved in those Division 1 games and you see one of the goal umpires on their phone, they're not out placing a bet or doing something they shouldn't be doing, they will be keeping the score. So we'll see how that goes. All right, before I move on to tonight's coaching video, any questions or comments from the last weekend? I did have Simon Hedgick send me an email. Something happened in his game that happened in the Crows game. He just wanted to know if a ball's going through the goals and it touches the goal umpire's flags, does it count as a point? The answer is yes. So he did make it a point. So he did the right thing, Simon. It actually happened in the Crows game as well. All right, let's get on to the coaching video. Just bear with me. So hopefully that you guys have had a chance to have a look at this. Contest for the ball, our last coaching video for the year. All right, let's run through it. And we've got some what's your decisions as usual to start with. Alison McMakin, are you there?
Hey, Colin, I am, but I'm driving, so I'll be no good. Sorry, but I am listening.
No worries. Yeah, no, we don't want you to have a crash for the sake of getting this right. Who's Adam? Is that Adam Harris? Got it.
It's Adam Forster.
Adam. Good on you, mate. Well, seeing as I think you're basically umpiring these 3 clips, you can tell us what you did this first one.
I just put a play on because the player didn't interfere.
Hang on. Let's play it first, mate.
Oh, sorry, I thought you played it. Sorry.
No.
I just got out the car, so I was much different to Alison.
No worries. All right, you've obviously had a look at the coaching video, so let's have a look at the first one. All right, what can you remember from it?
Player takes a mark from one of the teams, can't remember which team it was. Player comes into the protected zone but doesn't really interfere with the player taking the kick. So it's called play on.
100%. So at AFL level, that would be a 50-metre penalty. The reason people put it on there is the difference in what we're looking for. There really is no intention there to get in the way of the play, and the player keeps moving. He doesn't stop the player with the ball from doing anything. And so instead of being too technical about it, we can just let that one go to the keeper. So play on is exactly what I would want in that situation. And yeah, Adam, you got that one right. So Rashi. Yep.
Yeah, he actually puts his hands up too. You notice?
Yeah, I know, but that doesn't always mean that doesn't always mean that I know what you're saying, but sometimes I have seen them get in the way and not make an effort to get out and pretend that they're trying to get out. Doesn't always mean, but in this case, yes, I agree. it's an indication that he isn't meaning any harm. But as long as he doesn't interfere with the player playing on, you know, if he did get in his way and the player has to stop, by all means pay 25. Yeah, Rashi, did you want to unmute yourself?
Roger.
All right. Have you had a chance to have a look at the video yet, mate?
No.
All right. We'll see if you can make it out from the screen here. All right. What can you see?
A lot of jumpy video. Not much. I can't really see that one. Is it?
All right, let me go back. Let me go. See if you can get it again. All right. What can you see?
It was called Play On, was it?
Yeah, a bit hard for you to explain why.
No, I
do you
can't
have
see
a crack?
that. Oh, look, I don't know. He handled the ball, so play on.
He actually didn't. He kicked it, but
right.
I guess look, yeah, a bit tough asking you if you haven't seen the video, but
no, sorry.
I just saw it. If I could have a go at it,
sure,
looking at it, and I mean, it slid down. And it looked like a bit of a trip at the end of that.
No, don't read anything into it, Andre.
Okay, all right.
There's nothing. There's no trip there. So essentially, the reason for that being put on there is no prior opportunity. You need to hold your whistle, give him a chance to get rid of it. It's an unusual disposal. He tips himself upwards and then gets a boot on it, but he definitely gets a kick away. And so without being too quick on the whistle and paying hold on the ball, in that case, the right decision was to hold the whistle, let him get a kick away, and call play on. All right. Ben Kernich. You able to unmute yourself, mate? Oh, he must have dropped out because he's just coming back in. Well, Nathan Horn.
Yes, mate.
All right. Over to you to get the next one. It hasn't started yet. This is the other clip. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Look, I watched this a couple of times, and I probably would have given a yellow card, but just to the team in white. I thought that there was a bit harsh on the team in blue, but I thought he went on with it and grabbed him around the neck, and while he was in a vulnerable position on the ground, was pushing his fist into his chin or face.
Well summed up, mate. Exactly what I was looking for. Now, I'm not going to lose any sleep over the fact that Adam did give a yellow to both players. But if we were going to, I think that was in the final, so it didn't really matter at the end of the day. But if we were going to look at that during the year where we saw that, we would withdraw the yellow from I think it was a Henley player, the one in blue. He really didn't do much at all. If you're trying to keep control of a game and you see two players wrestling, then setting off one from each team makes sense. And I can see why Adam thought that was the case there. But, just in hindsight, if you did see on the day that it was just the one being aggressive, then, you don't have to send one off from each team. And in that case, it would have been a good result if just the player from the white team had been sent off. So, yeah, Nath, you're exactly right.
Colin, just a bit of context to that one. Those two had been wrestling for about half the last quarter. I told them if they wrestled again, they're both going off. So
that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you're on the Zoom to explain that. So again, I wasn't losing any sleep over it. It's a good learning from an isolated incident if we were looking in isolation. But your explanation there makes total sense. 100%. 100% fine with that. And look, we wouldn't withdraw a yellow from the league without coming back to the umpire for an explanation. So if a club came to us and said, we want that one reviewed, I would always come back to the umpire in charge. And if there was an explanation like Adam gave, we would let it remain. So all good. Let's keep it moving. Let's have a look at the examples for contest with all. There's quite a few here. I think it goes for another 4 or 5 minutes, so I'll just whip through it. The keys for this one: hold the whistle, let the play unfold. So in this case here, the player does dive on it. Holding the whistle allows you to see whether he's going to make an attempt to knock it clear. Obviously, he's not happy just to sit on it and wait for the hoping that you get a ball up. Rightfully penalised. In this case here, Broadview player drags it back in. Big pylon, but he's caused that ball up. So again, holding the whistle to see if it comes out, which it doesn't. I think it's Jared Pachenko, that the Broadview player, he's rightfully penalised. So this is the instruction for you guys. Make sure that taking possession on the ground is considered a prior opportunity. We want the player, when on the ground, to knock it clear. Keep their feet preferably, but in this case here, he's on the ground. He grabs hold of it. He causes the ball up. So good gutsy decision by Marek to penalise. And that's what I'm looking for. Similar case here. This one takes the ball bobs around a bit. But in the end, it's the Sacred Heart player on the ground that takes possession, and the ball's held in and rightfully penalised. If we do that, the players will get the message. They'll knock it clear. It'll make it a much better game to umpire. Be clear on it early on that that's what you want to do. Don't take the soft option and ball those ones up. Look to see if there's a genuine attempt. If there's no prior opportunity, there still needs to be a genuine attempt. So no prior. In this case here, he just sits and waits for the ball up. There is no attempt to try and get it out. I think it's Rashi there. Holds the whistle, and then good free kick. Yeah, in the case of having multiple hands in the ball, this is where you can choose to ball it up. So it's hard to pinpoint one player in this example that has actually caused the scrimmage. There's too many players there with hands on the ball, and so that's a time where you should be balling it up rather than penalising anyone. And similarly here, looks like he might be dragging it in, but ball spills loose. And in the end, the tackler brings that ball into the player on the ground. So it would be too tough to penalise the player who has the ball in the end because it's a tackler that's brought it back into him. We don't need to pay free kicks if they're playing footy. You want to let play go when you can. There's times where you have to step in and take control. And there's other times like this where you can just let the play go. Gets the kick away. Legitimate tackle. There's nothing there that deserves a free kick. It's just these are the periods of play where you can let them play footy. If you can't see the ball player's head and shoulders, you've got to move quickly so you can. Should always be front of mind to keep moving so you can see the head and shoulders so you don't miss free kicks like that. So there's an arm over the shoulder. Good movement by Stefan to see the contest well. And then with these high tackles, sometimes there likes to be a bit of push and shove afterwards. So you need to get in quickly as Stefan did there. Communicate well, keep control. These type of free kicks are the ones you can't afford to miss. And if you're on the move and you're moving around the pack, you will get them. If you've got a player in the way and you're not moving around quick enough, they're the ones you can miss, and that's where you start having control issues. Protecting the ball player by paying the first free kick is important. You want to really reward the ball player in these instances when there's illegal contact. In that case there, the player hasn't got possession of the ball, is just thrown to the ground. In this case here, we've got Smitty in charge. Smitty in charge. is a sling tackle. Not one that's card worthy, but a sling to the ground. And it's probably something I just want to touch on. I'll pause the video. So I think a lot of our umpires are doing really well with this, but there are some others that's still getting up to speed. If you can see a sling, a lift, a dump, anything that concerns you when you see a player tackle to the ground, even if it's slightly soft, you pay those free kicks early on in the game and the players will take notice. And if you pay a sling tackle, dangerous tackle, free kick and get the message out, it can save those more nasty ones, those yellow and red cards that where players are injured, where we have suspension. So I think anytime a player's taken the ground and you have a concern with what the tackler has done, make sure to at least pay a free kick. And if players want to whinge about it, big deal. You know, it's a player safety issue. It's one of the biggest issues in the game at the moment. And Smitty did exactly the right thing there in penalising that slinging motion. Just to react to what happens and err on the side of the ball player. So that's the final message for the video. So any questions or comments on any of that?
Hey, Colin, it's Alison. I have a question just about taking possession of the ball on the ground if you're on the ground or otherwise. Do you advocate calling out as an umpire, get rid of it, move it on, or not move it on, but like get rid of the ball, push it out or something like that?
Yeah, good question. For kids footy, absolutely. If you're umpiring little kids, you want to you want to give them that feedback, teach them as you go. For senior footy, it's not something I would recommend. I know some umpires do it. I would personally prefer you just let them play, and they will learn by doing by you penalising if they do take possession on the ground and then the ball's held in and you pay the free kick. They'll sometimes question why you're holding the ball, and you say, well, if you're on the ground, we want you to knock it clear. And if they hear that message, they will adjust. That's what I'm saying. If we pay them early on in the game, set up the game, players will adjust. So yeah, in answer to your question, not something that I'd recommend.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, just on that note, and when they do drag it in, and I perceive that I reckon 50% of the time there's always the opposition or somebody holding that ball in there. It's quite obvious as well. Is there actually is there a rule in the game where you penalise them for pretty much manipulating?
No. So if the player with the ball has dragged it in, and then the player who's holding it in holds it in, it's holding the ball. If you think the player who's tackling has dragged it in, it's just a ball up.
Okay.
You're not paying a free kick against the tackler for dragging the ball in.
Yeah, how many times do we see that though? Somebody's got it in, they've dragged it, the opposition, the one who's on top of it, drags it and holds it in, the arms up in the air, waving at the umpire and saying, hey, pay holding the ball. And most umps actually do. So
I think in most cases it's the player with the ball that's dragged it in. I think it's rare. It doesn't happen that often where it's the tackler that's done it.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, guys. That's all I got for you today. Yeah, exciting time of the year. Weather's starting to warm up. Finals are here for the women and around the corner for the men. Season will be over before you know it, but this is the time of year you want to be up and running and umpiring. So looking forward to some exciting times ahead. We'll see you all on Wednesday night for a snitty.
Thanks, Colin.
Yep. Keep up the good work, guys. I've got to work out how to turn this thing off. Hang on, I've got to stop the share. And there we go. All right. Cheers, guys.
See ya.